confirmed he will comply with the Madlanga Commission's subpoena. Advocate Hlau Maluleke says Matlala will appear before the Commission next week, but he says it's still uncertain whether Matlala will be appearing at the Commission's premises in Pretoria or from the Hoshimampuru Correctional Facility where he is being held. Matlala has been implicated in multiple corruption claims presented in evidence at the Madlanga Commission. Anelita Fandese reports.
Matlala's lawyer, Hlau Maluleke, says the subpoena presents a serious conundrum. This as it comes after the Pretoria Commercial Crimes Court rejected an initial plea agreement negotiated between the state and Matlala, proposing an effective 8-year prison sentence. Magistrate Ignatius Dupree said the agreement is unjust considering the seriousness of the corruption committed. The NPA has since offered a revised plea agreement that would increase Matlala's effective prison term to 12 years and determine whether the state can use an affidavit in which Matlala implicates other suspects. One, the NPA says, cannot be used if an agreement is not finalized. Matlala will appear before Madlanga Commission next Tuesday, 6 days before his deadline to accept the NPA's revised plea deal. His testimony is expected to be closely watched as the Commission continues to probe claims of corruption and criminal infiltration within state institutions. Anelita Fandese, Eyewitness News.
Former NPA head Mxolisi Nxasana has described the environment during his tenure as hostile, claiming he was never briefed on TRC cases. Nxasana is testifying at the Truth and Reconciliation Commission cases inquiry today, which is looking into delays in prosecuting those TRC-related matters. Nxasana was the NPA boss for 20 months between October 2013 and May of 2015. Nxasana has told the Commission today that he had never seen the letters that was sent from the Legal Resource Centre and concerned families. He says he finds it strange that issues pertaining to TRC cases never came up at the NPA during his time.
Very strange and very worrisome, especially now that when I've gone through these documents. These are very critical matters that should have been dealt with expeditiously.
Well, the National Consumer Commission has announced a recall of selected Jaguar and Land Rover models over an engine oil leak risk. The recall affects vehicles sold from 2024 to 2027. The supply says an engine oil pressure and temperature sensor fault has been identified. A damaged sensor may cause an engine oil leak, creating a potential slip hazard. The Commission is urging owners of affected vehicles to visit their nearest Jaguar Land Rover dealership for an inspection. Spokesperson Peton Daba.
The affected vehicles are F-Pace, which was made available from March 2024 to January 2025. Defender was made available from March 2024 to April 2026. Discovery was made available from March 2024 to April 2026, while Range Rover was made available from March 2024 to April 2026.
And in France, local media is reporting a huge buzz around some supermarkets in Paris, with residents scrambling to get their hands on bargain air cooling units. The scramble comes before the next heat wave is set to hit the French capital this weekend. Police were called to at least 2 stores as huge crowds descended on Lidl supermarkets trying to get their hands on basic, affordable aircon models. France has just been through a record heat wave that led to deaths, overwhelmed hospitals and closed schools. Due to historically mild summers, few homes and schools in France are equipped with air conditioning. This makes them ill-equipped to face frequent heat waves that scientists say are linked to global warming. Well, gold is trading at $4,071.08 an ounce. The rand is at 16.34 to the dollar, 21.86 to the pound, 18.67 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $70.57 a barrel.
Pasonia, serious accident scene N12 westbound after Komoro off-ramp. This is causing about a 30-minute delay all the way from the R59 Reading interchange. So avoid the N12 if you're leaving Germiston, Alberton, heading towards Soweto. Midrand, also slow-moving traffic heading towards Sandton. N1 southbound between New Road and Ellendale.
It's a fine afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 15 and 18 degrees. The top story in EWN, the Madlanga Commission has postponed the testimony of alleged police informant Dumelong Gu due to security concerns.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
We're calling on Joburg to walk the inner city with us. In 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk. Babize bonke. Enter now on primemediaplus.com.
You're with Relebogile Mabotja
Live, streaming countrywide
on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Minutes after 1 o'clock. Welcome to 702 Afternoons with me, Relebogile Mabotja, on this Thursday, the 2nd of July. Looking forward to conversations with all of you. Today, I want to find out if you have parents or had parents that are extremely religious, extremely traditional, and you don't share those values. How do you actually manage your relationship with them? What are some of the things that you have to change about yourself or maneuver when dealing with such parents? Then in our Belief Matters feature for today, we're going to be talking about why are some dates considered lucky or unlucky for weddings in particular. We'll be joined by numerologist Mthokozisi Shabangu to talk about that. And then Wendy Nola is not with us today, a very rare occasion in our consumer rights feature. So what we will be doing instead is bringing you another master class. And today we're going to talk about what happens when your young child is endangering others in the family and basically needs to be removed due to whatever reason. And it's a very, very sensitive topic because there are families that have found themselves in a position where they have a child in the household, possibly even under the age of 10, that becomes a danger to the rest of the family, usually due to unresolved mental health issues. We'll be joined by a counseling psychologist, Nkateko Ndala Magoro, as well as Ngobile Kweyama, lecturer in the Department of Educational Psychology at the University of Johannesburg. Please do share your stories with us and feel free to be anonymous. We know there are many families that are suffering silently with violence they are experiencing at home at the hands of a child who is making it a challenge to live with. So let's hear from all of you. 011 883 0702, SMS us 31702, tweet at Relebogile M at Radio 702 using the hashtag 702 Afternoons and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
702 Afternoons
with Relebogile Mabotja
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
There are so many skits that you will find online that are titled things like dealing with my African parents, dealing with my Asian parents, dealing with my Muslim parents, dealing with my Indian parents. And a lot of these will be referring to some kind of strict setup at home. It could also be dealing with my Mormon parents. But if you are a child who came from a household where your parents were or are extremely religious or traditional, so much so that I would almost say maybe they're a little bit out of touch with what people do in this day and age and young people, how do you deal with them as an adult? So I'm going to give a scenario. You're right. Your parent sees a tattoo on your ankle and you are 23 years old and now your parent is freaking out that they didn't realize that their daughter is worshipping the devil, tattoos are of the devil. I think there was a period where when young people, kokasi, would have certain hair, already it would be like you've joined a gang. There's certain things that you would do that these strict parents would automatically assume that you are a drug addict now because they saw you having a puff of a vape, or they even saw you holding a vape. There's a time where strict parents would think, or overly religious, overly traditional, if they saw you with dreadlocks, they assume you smoke weed. You are a dacha head, right? But now you are grown up and you're an adult. You get to choose what you want for yourself. How do you deal with these extremely traditional parents, or extremely strict or extremely religious parents? And I know people that come from Indian, Asian, traditional African households where it is quite rooted in certain cultural practices around respect and what things represent. Now you're an adult. They can't impose those things on you if you don't believe in them. How do you have these relationships with these parents when you are dealing with a certain type of value system that doesn't match theirs? I mean, at one point there was a conversation online, I recall, about men saying, how do you take a woman who's got piercings and a tattoo to go and meet your mother, and your mother okomachayeng, or is from the rural areas? You can't take a woman home who has a nose piercing, a septum piercing, and a piercing in their tongue and tattoos and say, this is the woman I want to marry. So we all know those individuals, but I'd love to hear from you just in terms of how you are navigating that space, especially if your relationship is not that close because of how different the value systems are between you and your parents. And it can also be elders, it can be aunts and uncles. I want to hear from all of you. 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
Aubrey Masango,
Weekday evenings.
8 to midnight.
I believe that there is a deal on the table for Ket Matala. To what extent do we become privy to what information he has given to the state? Hangwani Maumel. He hasn't been arrested. His stuff was confiscated. He was never even indicted. So on what basis do you take his stuff? Surely, if we're going to take your stuff on the basis of the fact that you've stolen something or you've done something criminal, then there must be a person that is connected to that gets arrested, right? No, Hangwani Maumel is a free man.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
It's lunchtime and Mr. D has you covered. Open the app, pick your favorite meal, and enjoy free delivery between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. No restrictions, no hassle. Skip the lines, stay at your desk, and let Mr. D bring lunch to you. Plus, every food order on the Mr. D app gives you a chance to win exciting prizes. Download the Mr. D app now and make lunchtime effortless.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable. You receive up to 745,000 Rand worth of legal services per year. Our range of plans include cover for you, your spouse, children, and extended family. Plans include cover for civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Whether it's protection orders, gender-based violence, uncontested divorce, or poor service, your Clientele Legal lawyer will be there to assist you. Our services are convenient. Simply pick up the phone and call your lawyer or send us an email and we'll get back to you. All plans include a bail benefit of up to 5,000 Rand and we'll go to the police station and pay it for you. Plus, Clientele Legal offers you 24-hour telephonic legal advice. SMS Legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Score big with the Checkers XXL Savings Championship with over 150 million rand in weekly extra savings. Get Coca-Cola Original Taste Less Sugar Soft Drink 2 litres, 2 for 45 rand. Specco Long Grain Parboiled White Rice 2 kgs, 2 for 49 rand. And buy Finish Dishwasher Tablets 45 to 56 per pack for 229.99 and get a rinse aid or cleaner free. Valid until 5 July. Only at Checkers.
FNB Private has just been named South Africa's best private bank at the prestigious Euro Money Global Private Banking Awards for 2026. And to unpack what that means, 702 is in conversation with FNB Private for a 3-part series exploring the ideas, values, and strategies behind one of banking's highest honors. Each week, John Perlman goes deeper into the award itself, sustainability and investment with the experts driving FNB Private's vision forward. Catch 702 in conversation with FNB Private every Thursday, an afternoon drive with John Perlman. FNB Private, your long-term wealth partner.
702 afternoons
with Relebogile Mabotja.
17 minutes after 1 o'clock. How do you as an adult navigate your relationship with your very traditional, your very religious, I'd even say very old school parents, especially if your values and your lifestyle are completely different? Are you a person who the grown-ups in your family don't know that you smoke? They don't know that you drink, you hide it. Do you have to go to certain extremes because you know what your family is like? Let's start on Facebook. Visionary says, radical acceptance that I can't change them, but I also won't shrink myself to keep the peace. I love them fully, but I protect my boundaries firmly. Some conversations are off limits with my parents, and that's okay. You're not a bad child for having your own life. This is true. Rick Spiderhouse says, I struggle to my mom's death as she went from voting DA to ACDP with a very openly gay child. I'm not understanding this message. I think I know what it's implying, but Rick, if you want to just clarify just in terms of what you're saying. So I'm assuming you're saying went from being a little bit liberal to being voting a more strict, less liberal perspective as an openly gay child. Ambani says, guys, please help me with your English. Which of the young need to be taught to be very careful whom they marry? Because whom you marry determines the types of principles and values you'll uphold in your own family. Okay? Nikita says, wait, if you were raised conventionally, traditionally, or religiously, how far adrift have your values and lifestyle taken a detour, Gante? I mean, guys, there are people who are extreme. Let's give a simple example. And I'm going to use a very extreme example. Let's talk about the Amish that have not been exposed to certain things, TV and technology. If that's the only world they know, and then all of a sudden one day they discover that you can go and get bread from the shop, you don't actually have to bake it and duba by yourself, then you might steer far. There's so many people who speak openly about the fact that they can't have a relationship with their parents because their parents consider them being, homosexual a problem and against their beliefs. So they disown them. That's what happens. So I do think you can go quite far apart from how your parents raised you. Elias says, you forge ahead with spiritual tolerance and understanding. My parents and siblings are ZCC and I am Muslim, yet we get along very well. Stara simply says, you navigate the relationship with respect. So irrespective of how strict they are. Amukelane says, you get your own house, you live your own life. The clash happens when you want to live your values in other people's houses. Move out and live your values. Oh, okay. Another one says, having a violent child at home, which is a conversation we'll be having a little bit later. So we'll jump onto that later on in the show where we will talk about what that looks like and why it can be a very serious crisis for families. We'll do that in our masterclass later today. My aunt once took me to church so they can pray for me because dreadlocks were of the devil. You see, these are the things that we are talking about. Dreadlocks are of the devil. I want you to take a listen to this audio that is Sanele Mlambo having a conversation about the whole idea of having parents and they having their own belief systems versus maybe what you have become to believe in and value.
Your parents are not going to change. And that's something my therapist told me. She was like, your parents are not going to change. You just have to decide whether or not you're going to accept them as they are and learn and try to navigate building a relationship from where you're starting now. My mom is 50. The behavioral patterns that my mom has, she has accumulated in her 50 years of life. There is no way that I can expect her to unlearn certain behaviors and certain things in this amount of time when all she's known has been that type of thing for 50 years. And that's when my perspective changed on how to approach having a relationship with my parents. I can't expect them to change overnight. I can only hope that a certain type of progress is going to happen, just so that we can have a somewhat sustainable and beautiful relationship. It's not going to be perfect because I'm not a perfect individual either, but we can try.
Indeed, we can try. And I mean, somebody had already spoken about radical acceptance. And I think maybe one of these days we must have a conversation around what that actually means, because it can sound like you just have to decide that you're accepting this is who they are and then you choose what to do with that. But I think there's a lot more to it when it comes to acceptance. A close gay friend of mine passed away 12 years ago. His traditional sister and mom refused to have his remains brought to the house the night before the funeral, saying that the child will be bringing curses and bad luck to the house. That is so heartbreaking. That is heartbreaking. I'm so sorry to hear that, and sorry for your loss. Relebogile, now I'm 42 and I smoke cigarettes, but my mom still lectures me like I'm 17. I love her too much. What do you guys do? I mean, outside of the lectures, how are you navigating? Like, are you not able to have an open relationship with your family? Are you not able to have an open relationship with the people that have raised you, that are able to be like, oh, this is who you are, my child. This is who I've come to know. Relebogile, our young pastor lady has a tattoo on her leg, and now half of the youth came with nose rings and tattoos, and congregations, old ladies are blaming the pastor, saying that she's possessed. Guys, Mara, what's going on? Like, is it just me, or is it the staunchness in certain flavors of Christianity that like this thing that anything that they deem not great is of the devil? A message says it's kind of rich for, and I'll come to that in a moment, shortly. We'll have a voice note in a moment on 072 702 and 702. For now, Asanda from Nigel. Hi, Asanda.
Hi, Rele. How are you?
Good, thanks, and you?
Very well, thank you. This is a very touching topic for me, actually. I just turned 21, and I refused to join my mother's church. I went there like 2 times, like for 2 services, and I was like, there's no way I'm going to be part of this. And then the leader of the church told my parents that I have evil spirits in me, and that's why I don't want to come. And they've now portrayed me to be the witch, and they said that because of these evil spirits, I am now causing like problems in the family. I'm the one who's causing stagnation in the family and all of these things. And this has caused a major rift within us in the family because my family believes them. And I remember telling my elder brother about it, and he was like, there's no way. And I now live with him. I don't live with my parents. I don't live with my family. I have been sidelined for the most part. So whenever this topic comes up, it really is honestly something that is very touching for me because of something that I recently have experienced. And this is something that happened last year and late last year, actually around October when it happened. And so this is really a touching topic, actually.
So, if I may ask, Asanda, how old are you now?
I'm 21. I just turned 21 now in May.
Okay, so you've turned 21, and there's a belief that there's something in you because you refuse to go to the church.
Exactly.
Is the issue that she wants you to go to her specific church or any church?
I think I would assume it's the specific church, because the worst thing is that the pastor there, right, it's a lady, and she tells my family and some of the congregants that they shouldn't go to other churches because all pastors are fake, and it seems like she's the only one who's the enlightened one, and she's the only one who is being sent by God, and she has this power to make some exorcisms and cast evil spirits out, and so she has discouraged them from going to other churches. In fact, we were attending a different church with my family, and they left that church to go to this lady. And so I continued fellowshipping at that other church, and they're like, no, because I'm still part of the other church, which is like a non-denominational church, a normal church. And they're like, no, because I'm part of it, it's a fake church. The pastor is fake. I am fake, and I have evil spirits because I go to that church. So, oh my God, like it's been a really.
Can I ask you a tough question?
Sure.
Do you think your mom is in a cult?
I did actually think about that.
And I'm sorry for just being straight up. My team here is shocked that I'm asking this question. But the moment a pastor or a leader says, I am the only one, that everybody else is fake, when we know you can open your own Bible. I'm assuming that the pastor is rooted in Christianity, the specific church, right? So the moment anybody says that this is the only church, that every other church is a problem, and that now everybody must come there, I mean, it's giving cult. So
it really is, and what's even crazy is that I was actually discussing this with my brother, and we're like, could it be that they're part of a cult? Because they never want to listen to anyone else. When I try to speak to my family and try to reason with them, it does not work. I mean, I remember right now, my other cousin had a big fight with her mother, and so much so that she left home. And then when they went to the pastor to ask why did this happen, and because they tell the pastor literally everything. Any small thing that happens, they go and they tell this woman. And this woman said, I caused the fight to happen because of my evil spirits, and I'm the reason why they fought. To think that this had nothing to do with me at all, but then I was used as the scapegoat.
I mean, how does she know you have evil spirits if she hasn't met you?
Well, I did go there once because
Mm-hmm.
I mean because we're going there together as a family. I never knew what was happening there, so I just decided that we should go. But I just never felt right about the entire thing. And I before even I was called a witch, or before I was said I had evil spirits, it just didn't feel right. And so I didn't go there again. And so they started realizing that I'm no longer coming. And then that's when now they're like, no. And I think how it came about was that my mom told the pastor that she wants prayer so that I can come to the church. And so now
I feel like we've lost Asanda. I'm not sure what happened there, but I'm seeing a message that says, Relebogile, this 21-year-old guy's family sounds like they're in a cult of a church, because I've experienced the same thing with my mother, who later found out that the pastor is actually a witch who consults to African traditional doctors. Guys, we must be so careful with language. Like, do you even know what a witch is? Let's start there. How do you know somebody has evil spirits in them? Like, how? Can somebody help me know? How do you know somebody has evil spirits in them? How do you know? What do you see? Hey, this is not Days of Our Lives where Marlena's eyes turned white and she was tied to a bed. And how do you know what a witch is? I am so curious. Hector and Rochelle, I see you. We'll chat when we come back. It's 1:30. Time for your latest Eyewitness News headlines. Good afternoon, Mbali.
Thanks, Relebogile. Good afternoon. Political parties are not all in agreement on what actions should be recommended against Minister on Special Leave, Senzo Mchunu. The recommendations have been thrust into the spotlight as MPs deliberate on the draft report of the ad hoc committee, which is probing allegations of police corruption. In July last year, President Cyril Ramaphosa placed Mchunu on special leave following serious allegations by KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi that Mchunu interfered in police investigations. The National Consumer Commission has announced a recall of selected Jaguar and Land Rover models over an engine oil leak risk. The recall affects vehicles sold from 2024 to 2027. The supplier says an engine oil pressure and temperature sensor fault has been identified. And KZN has a new Director General, ending a nearly year-long vacuum in the province's top administration. Acting head of the Department for Community Safety, Nokuthula Khanyile, has been appointed to the post. The role was left vacant after Nhlanhla Mkhize left office last year in an exit that sparked claims that she was forced to resign. Well, those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 2 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
In Pasonia, that's if you're leaving the Alberton area heading towards Soweto, there's an accident scene N12 westbound after Komora off-ramp. This is causing more than a 20-minute delay all the way from the R59 Reading interchange. Slow-moving traffic still in the Midrand area heading towards Sandton. That's the N1 southbound between New Road and Allendale. Look out for those faulty traffic lights in Bryanston. This is on Winnie Mandela Drive approaching Bryanston Drive. Also faulty traffic lights in four ways at Winnie Mandela Drive and Monte Cassino Boulevard. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9. Through parts of the Northwest, there are syndicates who target teenage boys. They abduct them and they take them to so-called initiation schools. And one of the things they do, of course, is to perform the procedure of circumcision. And until the money is paid, the boys will not be released. Colonel Adele Myberg, were there any arrests made?
Yes, we actually managed to arrest a suspect which is 27 years old, specifically in the Itusing area. We received the tip, and on Wednesday the 24th, we traced the suspect and arrested him. And on the 25th, that's when we then found these boys that was missing. They were actually locked inside a shack, and they were rescued then at Matsili village, 6 of them in the shack, and then, as I said, a furthermore 7 was also found nearby in the same village.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Every time a new technology emerges, it goes to enterprises first. Big business gets payment. Independent businesses wait. Big business gets AI. Independent businesses wait. Independent businesses employ 60% of the South African economy and keep money in communities, and they've always been lost in line. Yoko exists to change that, to give you AI that guides you on what to do next, loyalty that rewards your customers automatically, tools built for your reality, the unfair advantage for the businesses that deserve it most. Yoko, let's grow.
Saddle up. Hollywood Bets invites you to join the race day festivities this champion season. The 2026 Grade 1 Hollywood Bets Gold Challenge kickstarts the action. Gallop towards your chance to win a share of 2.5 million rand in cash and prizes with the thrilling Season of Champions competition. Bet 50 rand or more on horse racing online or at your nearest branch and put yourself in the running for gold. Bet now.
T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Ready to go?
No, can't.
Your mother raised you. She can look after him for one day.
But he's just your baby.
He's 7.
Just your baby.
I've packed his favorite toy and blanket.
Okay. Just grab his Hills food.
Always.
We know that you only want the best for your small dog, which is why Hills has developed expert, science-backed nutrition to meet the unique needs of small dogs and help them live their best lives across their longer lifespans. Hills Pet Nutrition. Science does more.
As we gear up for the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Joburg on Sunday, the 26th of July, we're inviting you to help us make a difference this winter. 702 Weekend Breakfast with Gugs Mhlungu, together with MES Homeless Shelter, is running a clothing drive, and we'd love you to be a part of it. If you have pre-loved clothing, warm jackets, jerseys, blankets, toiletries, or any non-perishable food items, please do donate them. Drop your items off at our 702 studios at 15 Fredman Drive in Sandton. Together we can bring warmth and dignity to those who need it most. Every single item makes a difference. MES is a registered not-for-profit company that has been changing the hearts of the inner cities of Johannesburg, Cape Town, Gqeberha, and Kempton Park since 1986. 702, let's walk the talk.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Mabotja.
Lines are always open.
On 011
883
0702.
23 minutes to 2 o'clock. We've been having a conversation around having strict parents that are staunchly religious or staunchly, strictly cultural and traditional, and you don't necessarily share the same values as them. So they see you with dreadlocks and say, oh, now you're a pothead or a dacha smoker. Or they see you with a tattoo, now they say you have evil spirits. 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 702. There's a WhatsApp here that says, all the rapers, criminals, murderers, etc. are influenced by evil spirits. You can't deny that. That is not what I said. I asked a simple question. How can you see that a person has evil spirits? Because what we've learned over time is that many of these criminals, many of these rapists, many of these pedophiles, they don't look like some creepy guy in an alley. They don't. They are pastors. They are teachers. They are parents. So how do you look at somebody and say that person's a witch or that person has evil spirits? We go to the lines. Hector and Kempton Park, hi.
Hi, Relebogile, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. And you?
I'm good. Relebogile, we need to be more forgiving to parents who are lacking skills to win their children over when it comes to influencing them into their values. We need to sharpen our skills as parents. Scaring tactics like you are demonic, you are criminal. Well, if you were to be their age today, you'll be also be having tattoos. You'll be also having dreadlocks. I think as parents, we need to find new methods to influencing our children instead of scaring them. Particularly us, the churches. As churches, we need to somehow reason with our children and persuade them in doing right or wrong. But how they look, how they appear, it's really immaterial, it's secondary. What we need to deal with is their thinking, their attitudes, and their hearts. And I'm sure we can win them over. Because, you know what, I have two daughters. And I must say that the tattoo debate, I had it in my household. And I won them. Because I always say, we watch Pimp My Ride. You know, you have these polos, you have this golf that we pimp, you know, because we feel they're not cool enough, they're not nice enough to such a way that we go and get them better neck wheels, you know, we tint them and then, you know, so that they have the look that is swag and it's nice. And then, but when you go to Ferrari, when you go to Lamborghini and stuff like that, if I would purchase it, there would be no need for me to pimp it. Because
can I ask you something, Hector? And I think I know that analogy around the fact that, you know, why would you brand your body? Because nobody brands a Ferrari. They leave it as it is, you know. But I this is where I have a problem. Let me rather say this now. I don't see anything wrong in parents wanting the best for their children, even in the ways that don't look practical, right? Even in the ways where they say things like, but dreadlocks, it means you are into dacha. Where I have a problem is like that scenario of the message I read earlier, where because the child is homosexual and the child died, an adult child, the body did not come to the house. So for me, I have a problem with parents who reject the existence of their children because of a belief system. Because if you are Christian, is it not that you're supposed to love your child? That's where I have an issue, where your belief system is now to the detriment of your child and their well-being. That's what I have an issue with.
Yeah, as we adopt the values and principles, you are correct. We need to pass them to our own children so that they own them. The tactic of scaring children away and condemning their development, and it's so unfair and it's cruel. And scaring a child, you are making them to be more curious and wanting to go and experiment. I think parents need to equip themselves better to be able to speak the language that will reach their children. I agree fully that parents are getting it the wrong end of the stick.
And on top of that, I mean, at the end of the day, a parent has to decide, do you want a relationship with your child or not, irrespective of who they become? And I would imagine, I mean, maybe it's easy for me to say it because I have not been tested, but my son must always know that he is loved, irrespective of what he does. Right? So whether he gets tattoos, and I don't agree with tattoos, whether he gets dreadlocks, he must know that, hey, my mom has advised me like this, but I'm choosing this, but I still know my mom loves me. Rochelle in Glen Vista, go ahead. Hi.
Hi, Relebogile. I just wanted to comment on my personal upbringing. I grew up in a strict Christian home. I belonged to a Pentecostal church. And just kind of the, I don't know what the word is, but the oppression, I use it lightly, of the women. Women were not permitted to wear pants, long skirts to the floor. They were not allowed to do their nails, not allowed to cut their hair, no makeup, no earrings, none of that. And my mom, she was lenient in the sense that I was allowed to wear pants, but then I couldn't do the rest of it. I didn't start wearing makeup till I was in my adulthood. I didn't start doing my nails until, I could pay for it. And there was an incident. We had a very big argument, my mother and I. I shaved my hair in 2020. And she disagreed with it, fine. But there was a day she played, the church that she belongs to has a prophet. She played a clip of his, and he was saying that a woman who cuts her hair is a dishonorable woman.
How?
Do you think I'm a dishonorable woman because of that? And she said yes. And we went back and forth on this topic. And I said, but I would like to believe I carry myself with honor. I'm good to people. I'm good to myself. These are the attributes I believe constitute honor, not whether I have hair on my head or not.
But you know what the big problem is, and I hate to say this, Rochelle, many of our black mothers have been brainwashed to be committed to this whole concept, and I don't want to delve into the patriarchy part of it or even how we got here. But, and I don't know if or what it is, that we are so brainwashed that certain things mean you are, as you said, you are not honorable. Because in essence, you can be a good person that is uplifting people, that is empowering your community, but because you shaved your head, then you're dishonorable. Because it dismisses the concept that what if you were, touch wood, diagnosed with cancer and your hair's starting to fall out? Is that same pastor now going to say you're dishonorable for cutting your hair? So what's your relationship like today?
No, we have a great relationship. My mom and I are open to arguments. We just understand that certain things, it's I disagree. Let's agree to disagree.
Yes. I'm with you.
We are very loving. We're good with each other. I now have a full head of hair, but I said to them, if I cut it again, it's my head, darlings. Thank you.
There you go. Rochelle, thank you so much for your call. Afternoon, Relebogile. I once dated a colored lady. She was having tattoos and smoking dacha. My grandmother told me that I was wasting my time on her because she's lost. Ka Kelubedu voice, as in saying it in a staunch, rich pedi voice. Imagine now we have 2 kids and she loves them so much. Kilikronolo Prince from Tsekani. Hi, Relebogile, what a topic. These things divide families. I always tell mine, let's respect each other's beliefs and make that family first before religion. Another one says, hi, Amanda here. Every religion is a cult, is what Amanda has to say. All right, Relebogile, my name is Badimo, was abolished because it was seen to be against Christian values. I only brought it back after turning 21 years. What? You changed your whole name because of the church. Your name being Badimu, meaning ancestors. What? Relebogile, the 21-year-old guy's family sounds like they're in a cult of a church because I've experienced the same thing with my mother. Ooh, tough decisions. Keep going. We know that they've been discussed beforehand and approved, and we appreciate Dr. Philemon Mahuma. Hi, Relebogile. Let me humble those people who make decisions based on faith. Please let me know that a good example is Jesus Christ. Ask yourself, what would have Jesus done or said about all these? He never discriminates, is what they are being saying. Afternoon, 7:02 with the Relebogile and team. Next time, talk about being brainwashed by religion, church, tradition, superstitions, etc. I go to a church I love, but most of the time I feel it feels like we are lost. Here are your voice notes on 072 702 and 702.
Hi, Relebogile. Sometimes the best way to save the relationship between yourself and your parents is to just move out. Move out, live your own life, and your relationship with your parents will be fine.
Good afternoon, Relebogile and the fellow listeners. You have such a very big touchy topic today, but what I want to say is that parents, in most cases, the decisions that they make for their children is to protect them. And sometimes at the time as a child, you will not see it, but as you grow older, you will realize that your parents really, they saved you. Now, on Saturday, it was church, Wanyana. Then I said, Labe Bapa stratting, my mother will be like, yay, church. On Sunday morning, it was Sunday school. You know, after Sunday school is a church service. You know, Tabaya Horwena, you'll be playing on the streets with other kids and all. It was not there. But then it really saved me. It really saved me.
Yeah, Libo. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Relebogile. I hear you asking, how can you tell somebody has got an evil spirit? Of course, you can't just tell by just seeing somebody walking and just say evil spirit. But of course, during the moment of prayer, when he's in the church, the evil spirit can manifest themselves. And sometimes they even speak. They speak. Whatever is going on around the life of that person. So you know that he himself is not an evil, but there will be an evil spirit that operate within him, that is causing him to do something strange or that is abnormal. It's easy to tell.
Guys, let us not forget that the symptoms of certain mental health conditions also look abnormal and can easily be labeled as evil spirits. So let us be very, very careful. There are people dealing with borderline personality disorder, schizophrenia, psychosis. There are people who have non-verbal autistic family members. Now that poor person is being told they've got evil spirits. Be careful of calling the church you go to a church when it is a cult. Thank you.
Every family wants a city that works. Clean water when you open the tap, electricity that supports homes and businesses, waste collected on time, roads, parks, libraries, clinics and sports facilities that serve our communities. But these services need a strong financial foundation. That is why the City of Ekurhuleni is calling on all residents, households and businesses to do their part. Pay your municipal account, settle your arrears, or visit the city to make a payment arrangement. When we pay, the city can maintain services, fix infrastructure and build stronger communities. Siyakhokha, siyathuthuka. When we pay, we grow. City of Ekurhuleni, a partnership that works.
Sure, they aced it. The Championship's Wimbledon experience with the Mzansi Advantage is back at Amex Tennistown Monte Casino between 11 and 12 July 2026. Enjoy VIP hospitality, the ultimate big screen experience, a kids fun zone, and so much more. Buy your tickets now on Howler and get 50% off on limited tickets when you use your Amex card. Tennis is better with Amex. American Express Cards is operated under license in South Africa by Nedbank, a licensed financial services and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
The Dial-A-Bed annual sleep sale is now on with up to 33% off. The Sealy Celebration Plush Comfort Queen Set is now only $8,999, and the 40-Wink Smart Zone Medium Comfort Queen Set is reduced to $9,999. Save $6,500. Plus, get fast delivery on our best sellers. Dial-A-Bed. Sleep for life.
702.
Belief matters.
Exploring culture, traditions, religion,
and the beliefs that shape our world.
8 minutes to 2 o'clock. And today in our Belief Matters feature, we talk about why some dates are considered lucky or unlucky for weddings. And we are joined by a numerologist, Mthokozisi Shabangu, or as the name is formally supposed to be said, Ndugu Zamandebele, in studio with us to chat to us. We'd love to hear from you. 011-883-0702 and the WhatsApp line 072-702-1702. When you picked your wedding day, were you particular about staying away from certain numbers? This is the conversation. Chief, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
No, it's... I actually don't have a title in actual fact because my spiritual work it came as a surprise as well. I didn't know I had a spiritual calling. So I had to buy a house for me to move away from home to be initiated. And they told me there's no one to initiate you, but you have to do it yourself.
Oh, wow.
So I don't have titles. I don't have this. So I took Ndugu Zamandebele as my father's nickname. My father's nickname was, my father's name was Ndugu. Which means the one who actually is praised after having done something, basically. So they nicknamed him Ndugu, and then they put Istegetiso Pesgo nickname, and they called him Ndugu Zamandebele. So what I did, I looked at Ndugu Zamandebele and I said, let me calculate it numerologically, and it gave me a 6.
Yes.
And a 6 is a leader of the nation, the builder of nations, and I took that heads on, and I called myself that. So
I'm very fascinated by numerology, and I know that numbers have certain meanings and sit in different places. But let's talk about dates that are considered lucky or unlucky for wedding days. And before we even jump to the main numbers that are problematic, do you assume that the double digits each time have to be added together to get the root number? Is that how we speak in numerology?
Yes, but you only add 2 numbers, but not forgetting that in the background of that number that you have, let's say you added 22.
Yes.
You get a 4. In the background of that 22, in the background of the 4, there's a 22.
I got you.
Lucky for us with 22, we don't have to add. 22 is a master number.
Oh.
It stands on its own.
So let's talk about the worst dates, the worst numbers to deal with getting married. And maybe, do you look at the months as well, the number of the months?
Of course you have to, but more importantly, it's the dates. So people mostly say the 13th is one of those days. And the thing about the 13th was taken from, obviously, historically from the Priory of Sion, when on the 13th, on a Friday, on a certain day, something happened in the medieval times. And that being true, Also, in the Bible, when you look at the number 13, it is all about rebellion. It's a rebellious number. So 13 would be a rebellious number. And so anything that is close to a 13, like a 31 and a 4, because a 13 adds up to a 4.
Yes.
And a 22 also, now that we have touched on it as well, ends up on a 4. Because these numbers, why are they looked at as negative, is that they enforce law and order. And weddings are supposed to be something very nice and very, committed, very lovey-dovey. And when you add order in something like that,
yes,
basically. But now they add structure, they add culture sometimes, or not even culture, but the strictness of tradition about the whole thing, which now becomes a job as opposed to a wedding. Right.
And a celebration, because I'm thinking about the fact that we know, for example, in the Chinese numerology, they are very clear on certain numbers being lucky numbers. So when, from your side, I mean, we've touched on the 13th because there's even a horror movie called 13, right? What are the lucky numbers? Is it a 5? Is 1 a lucky number? Which are the numbers that people should be looking at? And if we consider the fact that we're in 2026, must we always consider that getting married this year, you would be 2026 is what, 1?
2026 is a 1. So also the year in itself, what the year does is that it tells the individual, though, not the couple itself. It's there for the individual. So the day you got married, maybe let me answer your questions like this. First, the lucky numbers. You have the 3 and the 5, and the 7 is excused because people used to look at casinos and they used to say, why is there three sevens in the casino screen? So it's taken as a negative, basically. So the 7 is actually the number of wealth. But when you are vibrating on the negative side of that wealth, it brings the opposite of wealth. So basically, numbers are taken as because of their power, their vibration, but also all numbers have a negative and a positive, basically. And it depends on the couple, on what side of the one. Sometimes you might find that someone who married on the 1st will say, me, I was married on the 1st, and it is a rubbish wedding and a this and that. It's because you are on the negative side of the one.
So let me ask this. If a couple chooses a day or a numerology number that clashes not just with their individual numerology, but is an unlucky day, does that mean a bad wedding or does that mean a bad marriage?
Most of the time I say to people, it's what you make of it. Because a wedding with order is not a bad thing, basically. But there needs to be a balance. People need to understand that we need to strike a balance. So 4 might be taken as a negative, but it's a superficial thing. When you look at 4 deep enough, it's not a negative number. Even 666, when you look at it with spiritual eyes, it's not a negative number. We associate.
We think 666 is the devil's number.
Yes. 666, if we had all the time, I would explain it to you, but 6 is the number of fear. So 3 times the fear is you deep in the fear. But if you are on the negative side of the fear, you will have fear. The opposite side of fear, which people don't concentrate on. We don't know that 6 has a good side, which is dominion. Right. Regardless of the fact that the Bible says, and I'm not religious, by the way, the Bible says on the 6th day, it doesn't say on the 6th day, but obviously it alludes to that, man must have dominion over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air. And if I had time to explain that, I would say the fish of the sea is actually the number 3, which is the left brain, the birds of the air. Sorry, the other way around. Number 3 is the birds of the air, which is the left hemisphere of the brain. The right hemisphere of the brain, the subconscious mind, is the fish of the sea, basically. So number 6 would be the cerebellum, the center brain, which balances the two, which has to have dominion. There's many ways of explaining this, and I know I'm being deep, but It
if
depends.
I'm gonna say a takeout because we need to run to the news, what I'm hearing is even if you get married on a so-called unlucky number day, it is what you take out of it. Because as you say, the negative side will have the other side. Either you can see a 6 as a fear, or you can see a 6 as dominion.
Yes, ma'am.
Yo, okay. Numerology. I know we'll be having many more of these conversations in the next hour of the show. We don't have Wendy Nola. We have a masterclass. We're talking about what happens when your child in the home, your small child, is endangering others in the family. Share your stories. It's 2:00.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Political parties are not all in agreement on what actions should be recommended against Minister on Special Leave, Senzo Mchunu. The recommendations have been thrust into the spotlight as MPs deliberate on the draft report of the ad hoc committee probing allegations of police corruption. In July last year, President Cyril Ramaphosa placed Mchunu on special leave following serious allegations by KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi that Mchunu interfered in police investigations. Babalondenze reports.
Minister on Special Leave Senzo Mchunu has been a central figure in the committee's investigation for his directive to disband the political killings task team. But some members of the ad hoc committee, like the Patriotic Alliance's Ashley Sauls, says there's no proof before the committee that Mchunu is himself corrupt or part of a cartel.
Regarding the Big Five drug cartel, there remains an absolute absence of direct forensic, financial or digital evidence linking former Minister Mchunu's executive decision to any illicit network.
ANC MP Thokozile Sokanyile recommended further investigations into forensic investigator Paul O'Sullivan for impersonating an IPID official. The committee will meet next week to finalize the report before sending it out to all affected parties for a period of 10 days before its final adoption. Babalondense, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
The National Consumer Commission has announced a recall of selected Jaguar and Land Rover models over an engine oil leak risk. The recall affects vehicles sold from 2024 to 2027. The supplier says an engine oil pressure and temperature sensor fault has been identified. A damaged sensor may cause an engine oil leak, creating a potential slip hazard. The Commission is urging owners of affected vehicles to visit their nearest Jaguar and Land Rover dealership for an inspection. Spokesperson Peton Daba.
The affected vehicles are F-Pace, which was made available from March 2024 to January 2025. Defender was made available from March 2024 to April 2026. Discovery was made available from March 2024 to April 2026, while Range Rover was made available from March 2024 to April 2026.
KZN has a new Director General, ending a year-long vacuum in the province's top administrative post. Acting head of the Department for Community Safety, Nokuthula Khanyile, has been appointed to the post. The role was left vacant after Nhlanhla Mkhize left office last year, an exit which sparked claims that she was forced to resign. KZN Premier Tami Ntuli says he believes in Khanyile's capabilities.
Hence, as part of this media briefing, introducing herself to the people of KwaZulu-Natal, that here is a new DG for the province of KwaZulu-Natal. She's a woman and a capable woman.
South Africa is preparing to launch its first ever poultry vaccination campaign to prevent future bird flu outbreaks. The Department of Agriculture has approved a permit for Astral Foods to begin inoculating birds against highly pathogenic avian influenza at one of its broiler breeder farms. Anelita Fandese has more.
The department says this is a key step to protect food security and thousands of jobs in the poultry sector. In the initial phase, 200,000 broiler breeders will be vaccinated. That's about 5% of Astral's breeding stock, valued at approximately 35 million rand. The drive aims to strengthen flock immunity and avoid a repeat of the 2023 outbreak, which led to millions of birds being culled and higher egg and chicken prices. The vaccine targets the H5 strain and is already in use in several countries. The move comes weeks after South Africa suspended imports of live poultry and eggs from Brazil following an H5N1 outbreak there in May. Anelita Fandese, Eyewitness News.
And in China, Hong Kong's flagship airline, Cathay Pacific, has announced it will resume flights to the Middle East. The airline suspended flights at the end of February after the war between the US, Israel and Iraq broke out. It now says it will resume daily passenger flights to Dubai and 4 times weekly passenger flights to Riyadh from September the 1st. That decision was taken after the United States and Iran signaled that efforts to end the war remain viable. Cathay Airlines says it will continue to closely monitor the situation in the Middle East. While gold is trading at $4,072.08 an ounce, the rand is at 16.34 to the dollar, 21.85 to the pound, 18.69 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $70.57 a barrel.
Eldorado Park heading towards Protea Glen. We still have those roadworks causing heavy delays. N12 westbound between the Golden Highway and Klipspruit Valley Road. Devland, also bumper-to-bumper traffic heading towards Eldorado Park on the Golden Highway between the N1 and the N12.
It's a fine afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 15 and 18 degrees. The top story in EWN, political parties are not all in agreement on what actions should be recommended against Police Minister on special leave, Senzo Mchunu.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's an energy that connects us all.
That's what makes this one so special.
In 702, Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Enter now on primemediaplus.com.
You're with Relebogile Mabotja.
Live, streaming countrywide
On the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Minutes after 2 o'clock, the second and final hour of 702 afternoons with me, Relebogile Mabotja. And we usually at this time on a Thursday have Wendy Nola in our consumer rights feature, Nola Knows. She is not with us today, so we're going to be having another masterclass because why not? And I've been wanting to talk about this conversation for a while, but we'll be delving into what happens when the child in your home is endangering others in the family. And I'll give a bit of backstory as to how we got to this conversation. But make sure you join us, 011 883 0702. SMS us 31702. Tweet at Relebogile and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
702.
Masterclass.
Masterclass time on 702 afternoons. No, it's not a Wednesday. It is a Thursday. We get 2 masterclasses this week. And today on the masterclass, we're going to be talking about that painful scenario when a child in your home is endangering others in the family. Now, let me be clear. We're referring to children, so minors, people that are supposed to be living with their parents or assigned caregivers, but for whatever reason have come to a situation where it is becoming impossible for them to be living there. So I want to first, before welcoming our guests in studio, share the backstory. I stumbled upon 3 different scenarios online. The one is a mother who has a 10-year-old who has struggled with mental health issues. And the mother shares that when the child was 3 years old, she noticed that the child, there was something different. That's how she explains it. She could tell that something about the child is not quite right. As the child started to get older, there were behavioral issues. Now, I want to be clear, guys. There are things that toddlers do because they are toddlers, and then there are behavioral issues that play therapist, child psychologist, social worker would be able to point out. It reached a point where this child was getting different diagnoses and being put on medication, but started to become extremely violent in the household. And it reached a point where she sent the child to go and live with the child's father away from the siblings. Another scenario was a mother with a 14-year-old daughter who started doing things like pouring bleach in food that the baby also would be eating. So doing things that were endangering the lives of them around them. And another scenario where you have a child who has become extremely violent with, I'm trying to think of the correct way of saying this, but let me say it this way, unmanaged form of being on the spectrum, because they were still trying to figure out what the diagnosis is. So I thought this is such an important conversation to have, especially considering that many of us grew up in communities either seeing, experiencing, or hearing of that child in the household that gets locked in a room or is not exposed to the community because of certain issues and challenges. But what happens when now it becomes a danger to people in the household, not just the other children, but also the adults? So we're joined today by Nkateko Ndala Magoro, who's a counseling psychologist, as well as Ngobile Kweyama, lecturer in the Department of Educational Psychology at the University of Johannesburg. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us for this conversation.
Thank you for having us, and good afternoon to the 702 listeners.
I'm going to start on your side, Ngobile. It's such a difficult conversation to have because we know how sensitive it is. But I want to start off by asking, particularly because your field of expertise is educational psychology, and our conversation, we're speaking about children, and the examples I've given are not grown teenagers. We're talking preteen and younger, where if a parent is afraid of a child at that age, it's quite serious. But I want to find out from you, in your field of expertise, when is it that you would say a parent should say behavior is abnormal? Because we have sayings like "kingwana," we have sayings like "boys will be boys," but at what point should a parent's, flags be going or sirens going that behavior is abnormal?
Yes. That's such an important question. I think it's important for a parent to notice when a child is of harm to themselves and to others. And sometimes as children grow up, you'll find that there is this difficulty to be able to follow rules and constantly being defiant. And that obviously will affect the type of relationship that the parent will have with their child. And that could go on to other things. It could go on to behavior that is going to cause harm to those who are around them, because they have this innate inability to be able to follow rules. So when a parent notices that this child is struggling to be able to follow the structure of the home that has been placed to a level in which it is causing harm to them and to those around them, then your antennas should be up to say there's something wrong, and not to just be like, still a baby.
Yes.
They're still gonna, grow up. Their brain is gonna mature. Yes, there is a certain level of maybe certain defiances as young children, but then when it becomes too extreme, then definitely you should be alert to say there's something happening here. Because as children develop, they develop within their emotional and psychosocial aspect as well.
So let me then, just for clarity here, are we specifically speaking around children not following rules, as in bedtime, eating time, we tidy up after ourselves?
Yes.
Or does that include following instructions like, please close the door behind you?
It's all encompassing.
I got you.
So you'll find that there are extreme challenges of this child probably struggling to go to bed. Extreme challenges of this child, you ask them to do something, and even if there is an incentive, and if there is something, there is just this defiance. You find that they're starting to do things that are harmful. Maybe stealing also. You find that there is a lot of lying. Even though they're young, you try and reprimand them that, okay, I've caught you, you've done this. And then they struggle to learn from that.
I got you.
Right? So even if the behavior happens, but the correction of the behavior doesn't happen. And then obviously that is an alertness to say, okay, there's something more that's happening within this space.
And at what age would you say a child should be able to follow basic instructions? And maybe you can give a range that if somebody's listening, they can already say, I didn't know that at 3 a child can follow instructions. So at what age would you say a child needs to have a basic understanding of certain instructions and being able to follow them?
Okay, so children learn behavior and they model behavior. So even from a child who's very young, even from an infant, if you go to that child and you do a behavior, they model the behavior, they do something. If you're going to play with your eyes, they're probably also going to, model that and show that there's some reciprocation that's happening between the two of you. There's a relationship, a healthy relationship that is developing. And then obviously they develop into toddlerhood. They also, don't do this. Don't touch that. Don't do this. And then obviously if you have corrected them correctly, the correction will happen. But sometimes even if a parent does do all the correct things, you find that the correction doesn't happen. The behavior repeats itself and repeats itself into a space where it's even worse. Where even if they start in grade R or grade RR, you find that teachers are having a huge challenge. So you notice, because as I say, a child will develop in emotionally and in ways that are psychosocial, so in relationships as well. So they will develop, and there are things that you will notice happening. So a parent needs to be very, very much alert to say, okay, I'm noticing this type of behavior, and I've been trying to teach my child this type of behavior, but still there is no corrective behavior that has happened, and this child is still displaying this type of behavior, and in fact it's getting worse. In fact, there's a helplessness that the parent will feel to say, okay, I am really struggling with this child. Then you know that, okay, this child is struggling to follow rules and be able to develop in a healthy way.
Nkateko, I mean, as a counseling psychologist, I can only imagine that sometimes parents will bring children to you when they should be bringing themselves in, because, you spoke about mirroring. And a lot of the times we will place the responsibility of a child's behavior on their parents. But in reality, as we know, there are a wide range and diverse range of things that are still even getting new names today, from a mental health, even neurological perspective. What are some of the common behavioral issues that you are seeing come into your room? And I'm using the word behavioral loosely because sometimes behavioral issues implies a child is just being naughty, whereas we're aware a parent can say their child doesn't listen, but they never got their ears tested and things like that.
Yeah. And as you're saying, Relebogile, that at times it's actually the parents who need to be in therapy. I usually make that disclaimer when I'm seeing parents. I usually say, you are bringing so-and-so, but at the end of the day, depending on my assessment, it could be that I'm seeing you. The main reason for that is that, as Nobile has said, children learn from modeling. The role modeling that happens, the functionality or the dysfunctionality that is in the homes is what we might see as the behavioral issue. So oftentimes parents will say there is no limits to screen time.
Yes.
We start there. or the child does not have boundaries, or their grades have dropped drastically, they are unable to focus.
Or they sleep whenever they want.
They sleep whenever they want, but also you find that, okay, they sleep whenever they want. Do you have structure? Do you have a routine in your house? If you're saying they are on the screen for too long, they are on the screen too much, have they seen you modeling a space of reading a book, taking a walk, doing a different activity than being on the screen? So defiance will be one of them. Excessive aggression and anger. Self-harm is on the rise. More and more younger children are harming themselves through, obviously, the cutting. And most of the time, the parents don't even see that until it's too late. Sometimes it's seen by the guidance counselor or the coach, the sports coach, or even their friends. So it's a range of behaviors that parents complain about, but I always go back to the family structure and what is happening in this child's life versus looking at the behavior as the child's identity, but looking at the behavior as what is this child trying to tell us through their behavior? What is the communication that they're trying to get through to us as adults in their lives?
So let us assume that the assessment has been done, that are there environmental or external factors that could easily explain said behavior, be it instability at home, maybe the parents are getting divorced, maybe they've had to downsize and change schools, and bullying. So let's assume that all of those have been eliminated. In terms of challenges you are seeing that are on the rise, and I know sometimes people will say, why are we suddenly seeing so much autism? Whereas we didn't necessarily have names for it. I don't even know what autism is, Kasepedi, for you to put a name to it. But are you seeing some common conditions come into the rooms that are presenting as just this naughty child, help us discipline them, but you realize this child is actually undiagnosed?
Yes, mood disorders, it's a major one. And when we talk about mood disorder, we talk about a myriad of disorders. This will be your depressive episode. It will be bipolar. Relebogile, something that might go also often undiagnosed is menstrual dysmorphic disorder.
What?
I know.
Menstrual dysmorphic disorder.
Yes, so you have younger and younger children starting their periods earlier, where you will have maybe seen this mood change and this mood swing and this abrupt and hugely or extremely aggressive ways of expressing what my body is going through. So now if you, previously we used to be used to the fact that we start our periods at around 13, 14, 16 or 12. And now you have a young child of 9 years old who does not understand what is happening to their bodies. They wake up one day and they are extremely moody and they are not understood in the home. They are trying to express themselves. They are maybe unable to go to school because of this mood. But anyway, as I said, that is in the mood category. Trauma-related diagnosis as well, PTSD, your acute stress disorder, and complex trauma. We live in an environment that is hugely trauma. We are exposed to trauma on a daily, be it on the news, be it on our street, be it what we are hearing, the conversations that we are hearing our parents having about money. That can be traumatizing for children because in our adult language, we understand that we are having this conversation about money because we want to do something about it. But in a child's mind is, are we losing our home? Am I now not going to see my friends anymore? So you spoke about autism, and in autism, and Nobile can say that a little bit more elaborate, but oftentimes children who are autistic, especially on the extreme spectrum, it's it's hard for them to express themselves. And sometimes the only way to get through to us as adults is through aggression or through acting it out. And when we again shut them and say, stop doing that, it's the more they become frustrated because they are being misunderstood. And
the same way that an infant just knows to cry.
Absolutely.
And you have to try and figure out, is this a hungry cry? Is this a change my diaper cry? Is this I just want cuddles cry? Except it's the angry version.
Absolutely.
Please, can you explain non-verbal conditions that a child would just not be speaking? It is absolutely devastating to watch where you see children that are 8, 9, 10, where you never know if they're ever going to speak, especially for anybody listening who maybe has not been exposed to that.
The one condition that we talk about is selective mutism, and that can be as a result of trauma, not necessarily that the child is nonverbal. So that is why tests are necessary to check if the speech is there or the child is mute because they were violated and they were told not to tell anyone. So they mute themselves because they are afraid that they might tell. And Nobile, if you want to elaborate a little bit. So tests are necessary, but also we need to check what kind of an environment has the child found themselves in.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Child mutism is something that happens quite a lot. It's highly linked with anxiety. As she has said, it's like the brain struggles to be able to function well so that the child can be able to express themselves. And there are many other neurodevelopmental issues that occur that could lead to aggressive behavior as well. Like we have what we call pathological demand avoidance, where this is also highly linked to anxiety, but it's usually linked with children who are autistic. But even if a child doesn't have autism, can still display this type of behavior where they have such an extreme level of anxiety that they struggle to be able to regulate themselves. Remember, as a child develops, they'll develop ways in which they can, when they are faced with situations that are high stress levels, then they can be able to regulate themselves and respond to the situation quite well. But with a pathological demand avoidance, this child is full of anxiety to a point where they come out as being rude. This is when you try and give instruction, but then the child doesn't know how to express themselves well because they're just engulfed with this anxiety that is within them. And then they'll refuse. They'll avoid a task that may seem demanding to them to the extreme. And that's why also with mutism, it links up because this child is avoiding to be able to interact, but it's a brain thing. It's not a decision. It's a brain that's responding to the situation that's
so
happening.
it's not like they're just being naughty.
No.
It is involuntary.
It's involuntary.
Yes.
It's the neurodevelopmental makeup.
Yes.
It's how their brain is able to function. And that's where, obviously, if you realize that these things are happening, you seek for extra help.
So in the scenarios that you have mentioned where it becomes selective, and you've given the example of trauma, I want that when we come back from the news that we touch on at what point should a parent be worried that their child is still nonverbal, because sometimes I think a person might think because a child heard me and followed the instructions, they're just quiet. But what are the measures that, actually here, maybe I need to go and get this child checked? Because if all they're doing is nodding their head or saying no, being agreeable, so maybe because they're just agreeable and follow instructions, you think everything is fine. But at what point should a parent be concerned? We will take all of your questions on 072 702 and 702 and the WhatsApp line, or rather give us a call on 011 883 0702. It's 2:30. Time for your latest eyewitness news headlines. Good afternoon, Mbali. What is happening with the former NPA head?
Well, Relebogile, a very good afternoon. Former NPA head Mxolisi Nxasana has accused his predecessor Nomgcobo of plotting his downfall and failing to give him a handover. Nxasana is testifying at the TRC cases inquiry today, where he has told the commission that he operated in a hostile environment. The inquiry is investigating the NPA's failure to prosecute apartheid-era crimes. South Africa's rollout of the groundbreaking HIV prevention injection Lenacapavir is off to a strong start in Gauteng. The Provincial Health Department says more than 6,000 eligible people have received the prevention treatment since the phased rollout began on the 8th of June. While in the UK, Prime Minister Keir Starmer has formally apologised for the forced adoption of an estimated 185,000 babies between 1949 and 1976. The babies were born to unmarried mothers in England and Wales. Speaking in Parliament, Starmer described the scandal as a stain in the UK's history. Well, those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 3 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this stage, if you are leaving Alberton heading towards Soweto, expect some delays on the N12 westbound between Komoro Street and Klipperrivier Drive due to an earlier accident, while in Eldorado Park, we still have those roadworks causing heavy delays on the N12 westbound between the Golden Highway and Klipspruit Valley Road. Devland also heading towards Aldos. There's bumper-to-bumper traffic on the Golden Highway between the N1 and the N12. And look out for those faulty traffic lights in Marlborough at Marlborough Drive and Old Pretoria Road. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Lace up your tackies and join Proudly South African at this year's 702 Walk the Talk. While you're soaking up the G's, swing past their activation to cool down. Say how's it to your favorite mascot, Lolo Aruna, and celebrate 25 years of choosing local. Because every time you buy something that's loved here, made here, you're backing local businesses, supporting jobs and helping South Africa grow. Proudly South African, 25 years of choosing local together.
It's that time of the year. Sore throats, congestion, wet and dry coughs, pain and fever. For trusted relief for you and your family, ask your pharmacist to recommend a winter survival pack from the Adcock Ingram OTC range. With products like Medikil A, Expigen, Corenza Parac, Adco Napamol, Dialint Junior and more, we have you covered this winter. Remember, Adcock Ingram OTC, sponsors of Brave.
For over 120 years, Shell has been woven into the vibrant fabric of Mzansi, fueling your engines and your dreams, powering your journeys and your potential. We believe progress is measured in the opportunities we create, the smiles we inspire, and the lives we continue to touch. We are more than just energy. We're the everyday difference in people's lives. You can always count on Shell.
The Dial-A-Bed annual sleep sale is now on with up to 33% off. The Sealy Celebration Plush Comfort Queen Set is now only $8,999, and the 40-wink Smart Zone Medium Comfort Queen Set is reduced to $9,999. Save $6,500. Plus, get fast delivery on our best sellers. Dial-A-Bed. Sleep for life.
Nedbank Business Ignite on 702's closing entry soon. This year, we're celebrating entrepreneurs who've turned personal challenges into businesses that make a real difference. Catch 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa every morning to meet the finalists and hear their inspiring stories. Go to igniteyourbusiness.co.za or primemediaplus.com to enter. You could win 200,000 Rand and the recognition your business deserves. T's and C's apply. See money differently. Nedbank, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
Coming up
on 702 Drive.
702 Drive is coming up from 3 to 6 p.m. John Perlman will be having Thabo Sholomashal stand in for him. And he's alive, and he's here, and he's free. Hi.
Hey. Lovely to see you, Relay.
And you?
Yeah, it's been a minute.
It really has.
Yeah, I missed you so much, but at least I get to listen to you every day.
I missed me too.
Wow. I was expecting something like that, and there we go. Like clockwork.
At least I'm keeping it comfortable. We are family.
Predictability,
Wabon.
consistency.
Stability. What's coming up on the
Yeah,
show
a couple
today?
of things. Thanks, Relebogile. We will be speaking to our EWN reporter, Tabiso, about the ANC Secretary General, Fikile Mbalula, who's just made an address regarding immigration. We know that that's a very serious issue. Joburg residents would be said to know that electricity tariff, water, and other costs are going higher as of today, July the 1st. And we'll touch on that because that affects our day-to-day lives. And on the show as well, we'll speak about the return of the Mac, Dina Pule, back in cabinet again. And on the song, Relebogile, do you have your favorite artist? And there's a song that you feel, yeah, man, it's not that famous, but it's underrated. Not everyone loves that song or knows that song, but there's one song on that CD. I'm old like that when I say
can't
CD.
think right now because all I heard was Return of the Mac. Return of the Mac. That's all I can think about. Why did you say that? Return of the Mac. Yo. Okay, there's a song by Stevie Wonder called I Don't Know Why I Love You. And the Jackson 5 have done a beautiful rendition of that song. And for me, it is so underrated because it is just gut-wrenching. But when you think about the fact that Michael Jackson was 5 years old in that recording, singing about heartache like a grown-up who's been heartbroken.
Talent, hey? And we'll ask this. When people ghost you, do you go after them to find out why, the reasons why they ghosted you? Or do you say, let it flow, let it go?
No, you lawyer them. I'm joking. What about lawyer? 702 Drive coming up from 3 to 6 p.m. with Tabo Shalamashao.
702
Masterclass.
23 minutes to 3 o'clock. We continue on our masterclass. Yo, guys, sorry. I just am thinking about the lawyering thing. Because the ladies in studio are nodding their heads. Nkateko, is it because Otswa North? It's because Otswa North, like me. So we are having a conversation in our masterclass. If you've just joined us, Wendy Nola's not with us. So we continue with the masterclass on what happens when your child is endangering others in the family. Nkateko Ndala Mahoro, counseling psychologist, joins us, as well as Ngobile Kweyama, lecturer in the Department of Educational Psychology at the University of Johannesburg. Feel free to be anonymous if you'd like to get in touch. 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. And we have been having a conversation just in detail around what to look out for to tell if something is wrong with your child. There's a difference between just being naughty or just being a toddler and behavior that is rooted in other things. Could be trauma, it could be an undiagnosed mood disorder, neurological issue. There are a spectrum of things that it could be. So we'd love to hear from you on one of them. A message on the WhatsApp line says, having a violent child at home isn't a challenge in the least. It's a serious problem that requires intervention and solution. Ladies, I want to start with you, Nkateko, just in terms of once a child starts expressing violence, right? Let's assume we're not even yet trying to pinpoint what is wrong with them. At what point does a parent say, this is a immediate, I need to remove this child from the home because my toddler's not safe, my baby's not safe, he is 8 or 12 and very big, and the incidents that have happened thus far are scary? Because I've seen parents being hit by their children where they say he doesn't mean it because he's diagnosed with so-and-so. But even if the child doesn't mean it, it can reach a point where maybe it goes from hitting to wrapping hands around your throat or a child's throat.
Firstly, when the child starts threatening violence, we should see it as a sign.
Oh, from the threat.
The threat of violence. We should immediately be dealing with it, nipping it in the bud. It's we don't have to wait until we see it. When a child takes a sharp knife from the kitchen and start to threaten. When the aggression it's so violent that the child is out of control. Even us as adults, we are unable to manage. When the child starts to cause fires, one of the diagnostic criteria of oppositional defiant disorder is starting fires, is cruelty to animals. So we should
I
not
see that a lot
know.
on the crime channel where they'll say serial killer or
They
whatever.
started by kicking the cat.
Not even kicking, and I don't know if the kicking of the cat, maybe my examples are extreme, but you'd hear of them doing things like putting firecrackers or fireworks in the animals' orifices, if I'm going to call it that. So you are saying the threat. Now, under normal circumstances, I'm assuming a threat wouldn't just come overnight out of nowhere, right? That would probably be the unusual. You might have seen the behavior escalate. Do you find that parents do wait before doing something from threat to something happening?
Yes, because the parents are interpreting this as, it's siblings, they are playing, or it's never serious, or this person is seeking for attention. There's a case that saddens me so much, and this child did not have to come here. They slit their wrist, and they have been crying for help for 3 years from their parents. And, so the parents thought, okay, no, it's just you being the last born, you are seeking for attention. So we should not wait until things escalate to that point. And we're not saying that immediately take them to the police or a psychologist or for intervention. The intervention can be sitting down and speaking. So-and-so, I'm hearing you saying that you're gonna hit your brother or your sister like this, like you're even describing, you will hear the description. Those kind of language, we can just sit down with the child and say, that is not acceptable. Where did you hear that? And maybe if they say, I'm playing, yes, you can dismiss it. But if it's repeated and you see that it's escalating, we intervene there and there. And as I said, it does not need to be professional intervention. It's you as a family intervening in how they speak. Sometimes we even take light of certain, jokes and think that it's just children. We reprimanded a 3-year-old in our family who was calling their 14-year-old cousin what head. And we said, what is that? What does that mean? And they started lying a little bit, and we were like, Warshasha. And now you know what you were saying as a 3-year-old to say what kind of a head.
Yes.
So you nip it in the butt.
Okay, so let's assume we are now at a place where a child has threatened violence, and maybe as the parent, you are not afraid, but you're afraid for when you're not home because you've got other children, you've got animals in the house. What is the protocol a parent is supposed to follow? Because calling the police might feel excessive if your child is a minor, right? And I don't know if I'm offending any police officers here, but I don't feel like many SAPS officers might be equipped for those type of scenarios to assess what kind of force, in inverted commas, should be used in a case like that. Do you call a social worker? Do you call a hospital? Do you take your child to an emergency room? I think in my mind, I would imagine trying to restrain the child and maybe calling paramedics to sedate. I don't know. What does a parent do in a situation like that?
All those protocols that you mentioned, including the police, by the way, they are acceptable.
Wait, police in Mzansi, ne? I just want to be clear. Ne, we're talking SAPS Yamo Mzansi.
So we're also talking safety, as
Yeah.
well.
Okay.
So that's why it's important to all the other protocols that you mentioned, be it hospitalization, the social workers. A trusted adult in the child's life, maybe an adult that we have seen that whenever they are talking to this child listens much better than when we are talking, if we don't want to exert force. But where there's safety concerns, we have to also take the extreme measures, even if it means involving the police. So with the social worker will assess the situation at home. So it might be that it's the parents who get arrested and not the child because of what is happening. So that it might be because of the role modeling, the dysfunction in the house, the violence, the beating, the alcoholism. All of the above could be at play as a result of what the child is then exhibiting. And then if a child has used, sharp objects or any excessive force to harm themselves, the hospital will be the first place to take them. We cannot be taking them to a police or a social worker while they are bleeding. So you need to assess where are they, are they also of a mind to sit down and listen? Because you might find that maybe they threw themselves out of a car, a moving car, which has happened, and I've seen it, and I've, witnessed those kind of situation. The hospital will be the first place, and then we can start with investigating what is happening in the home, and then we can start with the intervention, the psychosocial, be it the social worker, the counselor, and psychologist.
Especially because at least at a hospital, if the child is injured, but still you're unable to control them, they can easily sedate them and get them to calm down while tending to their urgent wounds. I want to go to the lines quickly. Anne in Santon, go ahead.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
I would like to ask your guest, yes, all of the above. Alcoholism, violence, etc. in the home. But no child is born violent. What is your opinion on the ingestion of terrible junk food, crisps, cold drinks, I won't go further, which are filled with chemicals and are extreme hormone disruptors. And the mother is passing this down onto the fetus. And when the fetus is born, it is already born hormonally damaged.
I think you have raised such a valid point, Anne. So the contribution of diet towards behavior, I think the one everybody knows commonly is sugar. Is going to do what to toddlers? They're going to have energy that they need to get out, and they will do anything and everything. What are some of the things that maybe we aren't aware of or aren't paying attention to, Ngobile?
Yes. That is such an important point, because whatever a mother takes in whilst the child is within them, that's going to affect the brain development of a child. And definitely when the child is born and starting to develop into being a toddler, a child, then you will start to see these behaviors display. So it's important for mothers to have good nutrition. So good nutrition is something that we often are taught when you are a mother, to ensure that you take it up. But most mothers obviously take it for granted. And it's something that, that affects the child as they develop and affects their behavior. But I just wanted to touch a little bit also on some of the things that parents can do within the household, because behavior that is occurring within the household, sometimes parents can try and navigate, and it's important for parents to be able to have a community that they can engage with that's going to help them before things escalate to a level where we are now calling the police or taking extreme measures. I think it's important as a parent to be part of a community that's going to help you.
Yes, as Nkateko mentioned, that
Yes.
sometimes it's calling a trusted adult that you
Yes.
know the child does listen to if the immediate circle is not coping at the moment. We need to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to pick up on that. There are more questions coming through. 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions.
At the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, snap and share any one of 5 Mazda Wonder experiences using hashtag MazdaSA to stand a chance to win a share of 50,000 Rand.
When you're walking, 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk on Sunday, the 26th of July. Keep your eyes open because Mazda is bringing wonder to the 8K route. There'll be 5 Mazda Wonder experiences, including a piano performance, a world of color, a bubble field, a Japanese garden, and the Mazda Wonder Hub. Visit one of the 5, then capture and share your wonder moment on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok. Tag and follow at Mazda SA using hashtag Mazda SA, and you could win your share of 50,000 Rand. Mazda, where wonder awaits. T's and C's apply.
At the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, snap and share any one of 5 Mazda Wonder experiences using hashtag MazdaSA to stand a chance to win a share of 50,000 Rand.
Do you know what our problem is?
We have a problem?
You're a little clingy.
Clingy?
Every time I start getting somewhere, you want me.
But I need you.
You can't have all of me. I need a little room to grow.
So what are you saying?
Put me in a Nedbank 32-day notice account. Give me some time. I'll come back better. Open a Nedbank 32-day notice account in under 2 minutes and bank your money this July savings month. Go to nedbank.co.za. See money differently. Nedbank. We're a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We're also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comment, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we're not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission, PO Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
As we gear up for the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Joburg on Sunday, the 26th of July, we're inviting you to help us make a difference this winter. 702 Weekend Breakfast with Gugs Mhlungu, together with MES Homeless Shelter, is running a clothing drive, and we'd like you to be a part of it. If you have pre-loved clothing, warm jackets, jerseys, blankets, toiletries, or any non-perishable food items, please do donate them. Drop your items off at our 702 studios at 15 Fredman Drive in Sandton, and together we can bring warmth and dignity to those who need it most. Every single item makes a difference, guys. We still have a while to go this winter. MES is a registered not-for-profit company that has been changing the hearts of the inner cities of Johannesburg, Cape Town, Gqeberha, and Kempton Park since 1986. 702, let's walk the talk.
702 Masterclass.
7 minutes to 3 o'clock as we wrap up our masterclass, talking about what to do as a parent, as a caregiver, when a child in the home starts endangering the remainder of the family. I want to get to as many questions as possible. We've got your voice notes coming through on 072 702 and 702, and your messages. You can give us a call as well, 011 883 0702.
Dumela Relebogile and your guests. Some of the things I've witnessed with preteens and teenagers is quite frightening. Outright defiance, violent opposition, self-harm, self-destructive depression, etc. And, you know, at times parents are at their wits' end, but equally so, I've met some phenomenal parents who are hands-on and involved every single step of the way, often sacrificing themselves. What I have observed in my line of work over the years is that the more complex the challenges a child grapples with, the larger the village required to hold and to help them through it. Kingsley from Germiston.
Thank you so much, Kingsley from Germiston. I think what a wonderful way to share that. It really does require a village, guys, and the village can never be too big just in terms of supporting a child. And that is even in the hopes that they have great teachers, that their school environment is wonderful, that when you get time off from parenting and they are with other people, you know they are safe and in positive influence environments. Some messages. Relebogile, my 8-year-old likes to say she feels like everybody hates her. Excuse me, she was bullied by her friend, in inverted commas, but she loves this friend because the friend is popular, according to my girl. She would ask me if I would be worried if she leaves And by that time, I'm angry and I tell her that if you want to leave, you may. She says I don't always say I love her. She, on something, asked, if you don't like me, why are you keeping me? Whew, what do you say to that parent?
Words are very important. The words that we say to children, they internalize them. And we cannot joke in a disguise of we were disciplining the child or we were making sure that they get scared enough. We cannot joke around with words like that. So let's be careful. We need to check ourselves as parents or adults in the children's lives, how we behave before we can even call out that behavior in a child, how we speak to one another before we can call out the speech in the child.
I mean, I'm even close to saying, outside of how you behave, what are you projecting? What are you communicating without saying the words? Because if a child is not feeling loved, it comes from somewhere. A question says, what is the prevalence of untreated trauma or behavioral issues of parents being transferred to the child? Phew. I'm not sure who can take this one.
Let me quickly, Nobile spoke about nutrition. I wanted to speak about in utero stress. Cortisol has been found to be the only transmitted thing, if we can call it that way, hormone, in between the placenta. So any other thing, so we don't transfer, we don't transfer anything, including blood, but we can transfer stress hormones, which is cortisol. So, so the environment that we are in, what we take when we are pregnant, that stressful relationship that you're thinking, that can be the result of a child that cannot regulate, is anxious, already is born with a trauma response.
You're even reminding me of the fact that if you are in fear throughout your pregnancy, what does that do to your child? You might now see a child who's constantly in fear. Ladies, in closing, how can we empower the parents listening that walk away from this conversation with something resonating that I'm struggling with my child, I'm scared of my child? What can they do? I'll start with you, Ngobile.
I think it's important for the parents to realize that what they're doing is good enough, first of all. If truly, truly they're putting in the work, they're putting in the effort, what they are doing is good enough. And what is if the efforts are not reaping rewards from their children that are positive, get help. Again, I emphasize the importance of community, and try and seek out for organizations like Teddy Bear. There's a Teddy Bear organization that deals with being able to help children who struggle with a lot of behaviors. Try and be in contact with Childline. See if that you can be assisted from there. Always try and seek knowledge so that you can be able to navigate what's happening. Because sometimes these children, the behavior is beyond their control.
We're going to have to leave it there because we've run out of time. And parents, do not be afraid to get help yourselves. Sometimes, not intentionally, we are the problem. Sometimes that is the case. So also don't be afraid for family therapy. All of the resources are there. Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you.
When you can see what others don't, you can do what others can't. Nedbank is more than just a bank. We're a growth partner, because we understand that real success happens when you're looking ahead, spotting opportunities others miss, and planning for tomorrow, today. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently. Nedbank. We're licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Mzansi, the excitement is building. The 130th running of the Hollywood Bets Durban July takes place on Saturday, 4 July. This year's theme, Country Allure, draws from the richness of our land. A celebration of heritage, freedom and style, inspired by our beautiful countryside. It's more than a race. It's where champions are made, stories are written, and greatness is unleashed. World-class horse racing, bold fashion, music, culture, and a day of endless excitement at Hollywood Bet's Greyville Racecourse. Get your tickets now at Ticket Pro and release your glamour at the Hollywood Bet's Durban July, Africa's greatest horse racing and social event.
The CSIR International Convention Center has over 40 years of experience in hosting international, local, and national business events. This purpose-built venue is set on a tranquil campus in Pretoria East in the knowledge hub and science diplomacy capital, the city of Tshwane. Host your next business event at a venue where innovation meets experience. Visit csiricc.co.za for more information. The CSIR International Convention Center, where smart minds meet. Thank you for joining us. It's 3 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Ngasana accuses his predecessor of plotting his downfall, and MPs can't seem to agree on recommendations against Senzo Mchunu. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Former NPA head Mxolisi Nxasa